last video, we took a look at the basics of getting JavaScript running on our page. In this video, we're going to dive into the language itself and learn about the types and operators in JavaScript. When working with JavaScript, using a tool like Firebug or the developer's tools in Safari is super helpful. If you are using Firefox, you should install Firebug if you haven't already. Go to getfirebug.com and install the plugins and follow the instructions. Once you restart, you should see a little bug at the bottom of the screen. Click it to open Firebug and you'll get this panel. Now make sure you're on the Console tab, and you may have to make sure it's enabled. Then we can start writing our JavaScript where we see these little arrows. For a test, let's write some alert codes and write hello world just like we did in our previous example. Now once we write our code and we hit enter, we'll see our alert pops up on the page just like it did before, and we can see our code written out right here. This is useful for debugging as well as testing your code before placing it in your scripts. If you're using Chrome or Safari, there are similar tools. In Safari, open your preferences and under the Advanced tab, click Show Develop menu in menu bar. Then click Develop, Show Error Console, and you can paste our code into the cursor line to test it like we did in Firebug. In Chrome, you can select View, Developer, and JavaScript Console and test it with the same code. JavaScript has what we call types, and these are just different types of information. We saw two different types in our last example. The alert function was of type function, and our hello world argument was a string. A string is simply a collection of characters enclosed in quotes, either double quotes or single quotes. Here are some example strings. Hello world is enclosed in double quotes, and so is the second string. We can also enclose them in single quotes. And if we want to use quotes inside of our strings, it makes it convenient to use a single quote on the outside and double quotes on the inside. Also, if you want to use a single quote on the inside, it's useful to use the double quotes on the outside. Now, if you have to use both on the inside, you can escape your own inner quotes by putting a backslash in a quote. This tells JavaScript that this quote isn't the end of our string, but is a literal quote that we need inside of our string. Then we have what we call Boolean types. Booleans are either true or false. They're useful in doing comparisons, and they must be always written in lowercase and true or false without quotes. For instance, the string false is not a Boolean, instead it's a string. So to have the false Boolean value, we must remove the quotes. JavaScript also allows you to represent numeric values via the number type. If you have any experience in other programming languages, you may be used to a distinction between whole numbers or integers and decimals or floats. In JavaScript, everything is represented with the same number type, which can represent floating point numbers to a limited precision. Here are some example numbers. 0, we can do a whole number. We can do a decimal number here, like 34.56. We can have negative numbers, like 7.890. And we can also do a scientific notation by doing 12e3. And this is saying 12 times 10 to the third power, which will be the same as 12000. JavaScript operators are symbols that are used for operations like mathematics or manipulating strings or Boolean values. Let's open our JavaScript consoles to do some simple math with numbers. So we're going to be writing our equations down at the bottom of this page where our input for our console is. Let's start with the plus operator. The plus operator does addition when it's placed between new numbers, and it works exactly like you expect. So we can type 1 plus 1, and we can see that the resulting answer is 2. We can do this for any sort of number, so 100 plus 23.12, and you can see that it adds them just like you expect. The hyphen does subtraction, so we can do 5 minus 3, and we'll get the answer 2. It works pretty much as you would expect it to. Now remember, a hyphen in front of a number like -7 actually means a negative number. So we could do 5 plus -2, and it's just the same as subtraction. But you'll notice that the hyphen here isn't a subtraction, it's a negative number. The asterisk is used for multiplication on numbers. So we can do 2 asterisk 3, and you'll see our answer is 6. And the forward slash does division on numbers. It performs a true division on the number, and the result may be a decimal value. It does not do integer division, like in some languages, where the remainders are dropped. So we can do 100 divided by 4, and see 25. If we did 100 divided by 3, we'll see that the answer is 33.3 repeating. And you'll notice there's a 6 at the end of here, because that's the limit of the precision of JavaScript numbers. The percent sign is the modulo operator, which gives you the remainder of a division operation. So for instance, if we did 5 modulo 3, we're going to see that the answer is 2. That's because if we divide 5 by 3, we get 1 with a remainder of 2. If we divide 10 by 5, we'll notice that is 0 because 5 divides into 10 evenly. Now the plus isn't just used for addition. If we place a plus between two strings, it will concatenate them or join the two strings into one large string. The plus sign will do string concatenation if either of the operands are strings. So for example, if we say hello in one string, and then we use the plus operator and create another string called world, we'll see that the resulting string is one big string of hello world. Now, like I said, if either of the operands are strings, it's going to do concatenation and not addition. So if we did the string value with 3, and then we did plus, and then the string value plus 7, instead of being 10, because they are strings, they're going to be concatenated together, and it will return the string 37. So when you're doing math, you need to make sure that you're using numbers and not strings. Now that we've mastered the basic types and operators in JavaScript, in the next video, we're going to take a look at variables.